the first important thing is that the sports physio job is just not to treat. Here we help to increase the player's performance and also reduce their injury before it happens.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining today's session. Um, I will start with a brief introduction about Betterhood. At Betterhood, we are a musculoskeletal pain care brand based out of Bangalore, and we have been building India's largest physiotherapy network, a community. And Betterhood Physio Circle is the initiative under which we are hosting today's learning sessions with Dr. Sneha. So, without further ado, I'll quickly start our introduction with of Dr. Sneha. Dr. Sneha has been an accomplished sports physiotherapist. She is a TEDx speaker and founder of Momentum Sports Clinic, which is based out of Hyderabad. She has an extensive experience of working at the intersection of sport rehabilitation, injury prevention, return to play, and athletic performance. What makes her journey particularly relevant to today's session is the depth of her on field experience. She has worked across professional cricket and volleyball, including assignments with Hyderabad Cricket Association, Andhra Cricket Association, Indian Railway Women's Cricket Team, and professional volleyball. She holds international credential including a FIFA diploma in football medicine and IOC diploma in sports physiotherapy. And she has worked extensively with over 2,500 athletes throughout her career so far. Interestingly, she is also a former state level cricketer herself, giving her the perspective of both an athlete and a clinician. And that's exactly why today's conversation, beyond rehabilitation, the sports physio's role in athletic performance, should be particularly interesting. We will explore what happens when moved beyond theoretical knowledge into the realities of the field. So, without taking any more time, I would request Dr. Sneha, I would welcome Dr. Sneha to Betterhood Physio Circle, and I will also hand over for the rest of the sessions to pass on the baton to Dr. Sneha. Dr. Sneha, I'll just pin you to the screen. Yes. Dr. Sneha, you are on the screen. I'll just make you spotlight for everyone. Thank you once again for taking out your time and hosting these sessions for the all the physiotherapists and physiotherapist students who are part of Betterhood Physio Circle, as well as physios who have joined from external communities. So over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Mr. Siddharth, and thanks for the Betterhood community. So I just welcome all the physios who's being a part here, and it's very good evening. So I just want our it's not just a PPT. I just want let's have a good communication. I want to know how many sports physios are there. So how many people think that just a sports physio treat the injury, only injury. So how many people think that? So do you think a sports physio only treat the injury, or we have more than that role in sports? Yeah, good, Vikas, more. So what is most important role a physio have in the team? Guys, you can just comment. Able to see all your comments. Good injury prevention, athletes training. Okay. Anything else? Rehab, conditioning. Okay, ergonomics, timely assessment. Very nice. Sports injury, psychology. Okay. Better performance, strengthening. Ensure. Yeah. The first important thing is that the sports physio job is just not to treat. Here we help to increase the player's performance and also reduce their injury before it happens. So it's very nice. The audience are very good. Everyone are giving the answers. So let's begin. Uh,
I'll
Mr.
share
Siddharth,
my
you can,
yeah,
yeah.
I'll share my screen doc. Requesting everyone to just put a thumbs up or let us know in the chat if they are able to see our screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes, yes, it's visible. So before starting a presentation, I have one question. Reading 100 books, does it prepare to treat a player during a live match if someone is having ACL tear? What do you feel? Reading in 100 books? No, it doesn't. Any more answers, guys? No? Yes? No? See, I can tell you, yes, you need a practical knowledge, and also the theoretical knowledge is important, but it again comes 50-50. But during a live match, it's become again 80-20. So, yes, theoretical knowledge is very important. It's our basement. But the decision making is depends upon how much practical knowledge you have. So many physios are working in clinics. They are exposed to lots of clinic. The one who works on field have a different exposure. The decision making is done in how many seconds? Do anyone knows? What is the decision making? A physio get a timeline on the field to make a decision making, whether a player to play or not. Anyone can tell me? Good 10 to 20 seconds. Max 5 minutes, Dr. Bala. Okay, 1 minute. Yeah, it's max just less than 60 seconds. You get the timeline to make a decision whether your player is fit enough to play or not. So it's very important to move from textbook to the touch line. So let's begin. And anyone who is having doubt can please leave your questions so that I can answer it later. Yeah, Mr. Siddharth. So let us discuss between the bridging the gap from textbook to touch line. Now, what is most important role, like every one of them as message from theory to the touch line. The theory we are going apart from learning, understanding, preparing. It's a basement. Now, what is a touch line? It's an assessment, it's hands-on skill and optimizing the skills. This is very important. So when you want to become a sports physio, you need to have touch line. And the touch line comes from your theory. So what is the key role of this sports physio? Can anyone please message me what are the key roles? So for suppose, think that if your coach is asking you or that your player is fit enough to play or not, what you will say? As a sports physio, what you will say? Like just be interactive. So first important thing of the sports physio is that you have to be clinical translator. It's very important that your language should be very easy, that your coach is also understanding and your player is also understanding. A major gap in sports medicine is the language barrier between the medical room and the coaching office. The advice is like learn to stop using the medical terms. Like for example, you can't say in front of player that we VO, VMO insufficiency hai, your hamstring great complete tear. Start using a performance language. You can say the player is not able to the player is not able to run or do a performance or because of knee is not stable or knee stability during the high speed cutting is more. The skill is to just practice explaining a 6-week rehab plan in 30 seconds. Like we need to be very smart enough. We need to complete the program in six weeks program rehab in 30 seconds. The head coach doesn't care about elevated pitch. He will only care about the whether the player is ready to play or not. So our language should be very simple, very easy, to make a coach and player to understand. So make sure the first thing you're using a language. It might be a layman language also, but use a language which is very easy that both of them are understanding. Okay. The second most important thing, you can change Mr. Siddharth. Yeah. Now your textbook knowledge is just 30%. What you will need on field. For example, if someone is walking inside the clinic, how much time you spend with your patients when someone is coming into the clinic? It's like 45 to 60 minutes of proper assessment for the diagnosis. Do you think the same 45 minutes can you do on the field? No. Yeah, you can't do. Firstly, you have lots of pressure on the field. 70% of field experience is very important. Your decision making, your practical application, real time problem solving. So it's different between a theoretical control environment and a chaotic. Always a field decision making is very chaotic. So you need to understand between the theoretical knowledge and practical applications. Here the timeline is there, you have lots of pressure and you can't just sit and diagnose anything. You just have to prepare your mind that you need to make one decision, whether yes or no. It's just clear cut. So 30% is the clinic classroom learning and 70% is a field experience. As a sports physio, you don't have luxury to send someone for MRA immediately from the field. So what we can do, we can just get a player back, do an assessment and send. But on field, you don't have any such luxuries. So let me know if you guys are working with sports players and what do you think? What are the mistakes they are making? I think most of them are working with sports players, doing lots of rehabs. First, most important thing, what the young physios are making mistake during treating a player is over relying on textbook diagnosis, ignoring player psychology. This is most important thing. Poor communication with coaches, delaying decisions on field, treating injury but not a performance. So are we treating injuries or the performance here? Can you treat an MRA or can you treat the symptoms? What you can do? Symptoms? Yes. We can't treat an MRA. We can treat the symptoms. So yeah, as a young sports physios, please don't do this mistake. Have a good communication with your coach because at the end, how good you are, you will be blamed. And you need to be ready to take that. If the player is not performing, if the player is injured, the injury is a part and parcel of the game. It's not into your hands, not into a player hands and all. It's just a part and parcel. But when your player is not performing, when the coach need that player and the player is not ready, you need to take all those things on yourself. So always make sure that when you're on field, don't be emotional on any decision. You need to be very straightforward and make your decision. Yeah, next. Anyone, any question? So you can go forward. So right now, if you guys agree with me, we are shifted our identity from clinical to the performance integrated. Now, even our patients are well educated. If you guys are running clinic, do people come and tell that हमारी इंजुरी जल्दी ठीक होना है, हमारी इंजुरी हमको ज्यादा आगे नहीं लेके जाना है? Do you think if we are just a clinical, can we handle this pressure? No. So we are evolved. Now we are mentally shift from the treatment. We are into a performance management, isolation, integration, and decision under uncertainty. So we are just not into the clinical based practitioners now. Now every sports clinic I see, they also have a gym attached. Earlier, if you see, it was just a clinic with 2, 3 couch, just an ultrasound IFT. Now, if you see, the sports clinics are not less than the gym. We have all the gym facilities, we have recovery, we have performance, we have psychological health, we have every advanced technology. So do you think now we can name as a clinical clinicians or the performance masters? So it's it's very important that now we need to shift the identity. It's not about just the sports physio, it's about the clients who are coming into your center. Now, everyone are into sports, whether it's a professional player or the recreational one. There are lots of people, there are lots of women's into sports. If you see High Rocks, everyone needs quick fix. No one are waiting for months and months. Am I correct? Yes, Dr. Vikas. Thank you. Dr. Siddharth, you can go forward. The 60-second scan. Now, what you have to do? Now, a player fell down on the ground. You have run. You got a 60-second. Like, as I mentioned you, this is not an assessment. This is a decision window. Now your player is telling, ma'am, I'm totally fine. I can play. But you know that he can't play. You're just seeing the swelling. You're seeing there is instability. What do? Do you agree with the player or do you make your own decision? And if your player is a star player, it's a final match. That is a star player. What you'll do? You'll make your decision or you will just make a player happy and tell ki, okay, boss, you can play. So what are the risk factors? It's your, yeah, you need to stand on your decision. When you see some red flags, you see swelling, you see instability, and you know if this player can't go forward, make a decision making, and you just have to say directly to the player, sorry, boss, you can't play, please come out. So 60 seconds is only to make a decision. You're not supposed to do any diagnosis on field. If you do diagnosis, the timeline will be done. And I think in that pressure, it's very difficult to do diagnosis. It's just decide yes or no. Yeah, sir, you can change. Yeah. So as a sports physio on field, what are important things you need to know? The first important thing is you need to know concussion management. You need to know emergency decision making under pressure. You need to know emergency protocols, what you need to go ahead. You need to know even signs. If someone needs help from the medical department, you need a stretcher, you need a doctor. So you need to know all the signs and you need to know basic importance is basic life support. So as a sports physio, you need to have this skill. Do you think we have to do this concussion assessment? Is it important to do the concussion? Yes, that's correct. We have timeline till 4 minutes, but the umpires will stand on your head and tell to finish it within 3 to 2 minutes only. So concussion assessment is very important. You need to check whether a player is having a vomiting sensation, any dizziness, or memory loss. Monitor for immediately symptoms of red flags and quickly make a decision and make a player out. Again, the emergency decision make on your assess the situation, coordinate the response, and execute your plan. So, as the physio, if you are on field, make sure you are good and see basic life support. So, this is most important that where you can treat your players and the physio bag, which is very important. Do you know what to carry in the physio bag? What are the things are very important in physio bag? Your first aid kit, your few tapes, your sprays, yes, tapes. So you need to prepare your bag ready. So these are a few things you need to go forward. Next change. So how the physio thing? If someone, if there is a major injury or just a minor injury, if your player is on field and calling you, so what do you think? You think about what is the injury, or do you think what is the risk? Or you'll think, can I treat it? Or you think, can they perform safely? So, as a mindset, we just have to think, what is the risk? Can this player perform? You can't sit and think, ki, what might be this injury? Is it a ligament tear or the fracture? You can't sit and decide. You just have to know, yes, if there's a swelling, instability, You just have to think ki this player is need a medical emergency, you need to put. You can't question yourself standing there that whether you can treat it or not. You can only think, can they perform safely? If you think, yes, a player can perform safely with the support you give, your brace support, stabilize. If you think the player can't perform it, just be straight. The hard clinical skill, the three skills are important: your decision making, injury mechanism, life and decide, play, pause, and pull, your acute trauma and concussions, your assessment of your concussion, spinal clearance, airways, everything, and your battle taping, speed and durability. Can you apply a functional taping on the sweaty, muddy ankle in just a 90 seconds? So you should also be having the skills on field. You can't just do a assessment and do a taping. So you need to have these three skills when you're on field. Yeah, so you can. Modern sports physio prevent injury before they happen. How many people agree with this? Do you all agree? Yes. Reactive and proactive. How many people are using GBS wearable data? How many people calculate the whoop, chronic to acute workload ratio monitoring, return to play protocol, biomechanic, and video? Do you think how much we can rely on this equipment? Anyone? So what data? If I'm giving you a data of Virat Kohli and I'll tell you, please make a decision whether it's fit or unfit. So what you will do? Very nice. It's just a 50%. You can't completely rely, but we are fortunate and we are happy that we have so many devices because people only believe on evidence. If you tell from your mouth that your workload is more or you can't do anything, no one will believe you. So data is only to show 50% of your thing. It's not complete 100% where we get relay. There's so many things. We monitor a recovery from whoop, we monitor the strain, but according to the body also we take the decision. But still, the modern sports physio, we are preventing lots of injuries before it's happening. How many people do IPS, injury prevention screening, before a match? How many of your player do a priming session before a match? Do you know what is priming? What is IPS? I know everyone knows what is MSK, but do you know what is IPS? It's an injury prevention screening. For example, there is a match tomorrow happening around 9 o'clock. If I take a BCCI match, it starts at 9. So before 9, you know what happens in physio room. So before 9, uh, if we are starting by 8 o'clock from hotel, we call our players 6 o'clock to our room and we do injury prevention screening where we check their range of motion, tightness, stiffness. So when we find out if there is tightness or decrease in range of motion, we help them to increase it because it prevents your injury. Again, the whoop, we monitor the sleep, we monitor the strain. Yes, we have few protocols. I think I will not be able to show here, but definitely I'm gonna share with you guys. You can check it out, IPS protocols and MSK. MSK we usually do before the start of the season, but IPS before every match. So for example, a bowler who have to bowl 140 speed, but the hamstring is tight. Do you think after bowling 2 overs, he might have a pull? Definitely. If there's a high tight hamstring, definitely he'll have. So what we do, we before the session start, we do a IPS, we'll check the hamstring muscle length, everything. We will release it, help them in mobility, then the players go forward. So this is how we are preventing lots of injuries which is happening. And also there is one more thing where lots of players, you see, they use a Whoop band. So Whoop band show us the strain, Whoop band show us their recovery, but still I can tell you it's 50%. They are the times where the players are fit enough, but the recovery rate is showing just a 40%. Isokinetic performance system hai, but on field and during the match session, we don't go with those things. We only go forward with the rehab. Devoice data is also there, Shreya. But everything is, again, I'm just telling you 50%. During a match, every player will be in the anxious level. Do you not be in anxiety or anxious when you are doing something? And when we check their data or we check their wearable data, definitely it will be fluctuate. You can't decide telling that ki ma'am, his BP is high or is very anxious, his heart rate is increasing and this player is not fit. So make sure, be a smart physio. If you are able to see that someone is into anxiety zone, just sit and speak to them. It's just again a 50%. How many of physio use a force plate here? Is anyone using a force plate? Anyone using a sports? So it is used in written to sports where we calculate whether our player is going forward or how's the progression level, because phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, phase 5. How do you calculate? So either we use a systems of biomechanics or the force plates, and also our 50% how our player symptom is, then we will decide the next criteria. Okay, is everyone clear? So you can go next. Workload management. How many people are doing workload management? So workload management is very important. It's like do, understand, move, and train. Do is what? Your data. Understand the acute and chronic workload ratio to predict injury before it's happening. We all are very smart. We are not only treating, we are preventing the injury. So you need to understand how much is the workload. Move. Move is what? Reactive rehab. Move beyond the sets of 10. Design a protocol or the rehab where the player has to react to a ball or to a opponent while recovering. How many people do a reflect training with their players or the clients? It's not about the players also. It's for the clients also. How many people are doing a reflective trainings? Train. Again, train your eyes. It's not for the player. Train your eyes. If you see a player limping on the ground, do you ignore it? Or do you just wait that player have to give you a signal, or the coach have to come and tell, I think there is something wrong? So we can't wait. During a matches, how many people have seen a physio running on the ground? We all have seen if there is small injury, a physio runs on field. I can tell you a physio is so proactive. A physio sit there and watch every movement of his player. We don't sit and watch the match. If someone asks me how much player have scored, how many boundaries, no, I can't tell all those things. I can only tell कि मेरे player ने dive मारा, so I think there is some shoulder injury. Or we only see the movement. We don't see anything apart from that. So you need to understand your resistance. You need to understand your workload. So there is a formula. There are few things I'm just giving you. Just it's very in depth how we calculate the workload, how we go with our workload management. Can anyone agree with me? There is lots of gym injuries happening. Do you guys face this? lots of gym injuries? Yeah. Do you think why there is lots of gym injuries? You get lots of client telling you I was doing a chest press and I got a pull, but I ignore it. Deadlifts, definitely muscle pull. What might be the reason? One reason, TK warm up. Second reason is what? If you sit and ask your client what was your workload yesterday and what was your workload today, you will definitely find a difference. Whenever someone comes with a gym injury, make sure you're taking an complete 1 week of his protocol thing. Some have definitely a mismatch. Some goes with conditioning, second loading, third again loading, then conditioning. How many people think 60 minutes of workout is good enough, or again 80 to 90, 100 minutes of workout is enough? I've seen people spending 2 to 3 hours just lifting weights. Yes. So you need to know for a workload management. Upcoming session, if we guys are meeting, I'll definitely go in depth how to assess the workload. Even 40 minutes is enough. Yes. It's just a 40 minutes warm up, do a mobility. People don't do mobility. That's the biggest thing. If you see someone who is doing a gym for a longer period, they have lots of stiffness, tightness. They lift 25 kgs of weight. When you start a rehab isometric, you see their muscles shivering because we work on specific muscles. In gym, it's just a group muscle. So when you lift the weight, it's a group muscle acting. Do you understand which is weak? No. So when they come in rehab, so many of my players ask, ma'am, we easily lift 80 to 100 kgs, but when we come here, our hamstring is shivering because they never do a specific rehab like how we make them do. Okay, guys. So let's go with next. Data doesn't coach the player. This is very important. What tech measures, like we all were discussing, it's just a 50%. It just give you external and internal load, mechanical output, kitna force, velocity and power, acute fatigue and recovery markers. Session to session change. How many people of you know RPE and do you calculate it on daily basis? RPE. Do you give the forms to your players and tell ki every session please give us RPE? Yes, Dr. Vikas. Anyone else? RP? Yeah, Shreya. RP is given for every session. For example, if you are having a morning gym session, after a gym session, a player should mark RP. Then you have a batting session. After your batting session, RP. Then if you're having a complete fielding session, RP. So what you decide from your player RPE? Anyone? What do you decide? Do you decide how much to give next day load, or do you decide do you predict any injury, or you just take a data because you need to submit? What do you do exactly for RP? Risk evaluation, correct? Endurance, okay. We don't it's in a team you have trainer and you have a physio, so the work is very easy now because physio trainers take care of workload, but as a physio you need to know because at the end you need to answer. So we plan the next day workload. It's very important to plan the workload, and you go and tell to your coach. So what, am I clear, guys? Yeah, overall stress. Now, what tech does not decide? This is very important. The tech, your Whoop band, what it does not decide? It does not decide mechanical problems. It does not decide the effect. It does not decide why confidence shift week to week. It's only give you the mark. It does not decide, and it's not a decision maker. Why stress outside sports leaks into movements? So always make sure you're having a data that is good, but it's only a 50% of what you're doing. Yeah, you can change. So what are the questions do you get from the coach? Do you think you need to sit and explain everything, or you just have to be very straightforward? Always remember, guys, the coaches don't want a lecture. They want what happened. And always make sure you are the only person where a player come with the trust and share everything. So in the rehab, most important thing is mindset. Mindset is very important. You need to, how much ever a good physio, how much ever a good rehab you make, do you think if the player doesn't trust you, will he or she will do a rehab, or no? The trust is very important. Again, it's very important that you need to explain the player about the re-injury. It's not that you are scaring them, but you need to explain them how to manage the fear. Many players, when come near you, they deny about the injury. I think the people who are working with sports relate to me. They hide lots of injury. They deny. Do you think we we can blame them? You can't say tell in front of coach ki sir वो मेरे से छुपाया तो मुझे नहीं पता. We don't have that luxury. We don't have that say. And also, as a sports physio, you need to be calm. When you're running on ground, you always see the crowd is screaming. Your player is into an anxious zone. If there is sudden cut or lots of bleeding, you are the one person who need to handle it. The ethical backbone, having the courage to say no to the coach or a start player when the medical risk is too high. As a sports physio, I have gone through lots of pressure. I think might be someone also face those pressure. You are a star player, the fracture had happened, but the coach want the player to play, and the player want he should play. What do you do in that pressure? You should have courage to tell no. The moment you start telling no, you will be labeled have not a good physio, but you need to handle it because we know the high risk. So always don't take side of anyone. If you can manage, yes. If you can't manage, please just be straightforward and tell no. Okay? So you can change. Field framework. Fast decision making, integrate with the team, evaluate the risk, lead the communication. Again, your D is your data derived rehab. So these 5 are very important to us. These are our framework. So I am just going superficial, guys. I'm just saying, telling you again, it's very in depth. But yes, next time we will be doing in depth. I'm just giving you the complete gist and the most important things what a sports physio should have. So you can change. Your personality matters as much as your techniques. How many people believe this? Personality in the sense, what do you feel? What is a personality? Whenever a patient comes near you, do patient ask for your certificates? Do a patient ask you, are you a gold medalist? Do patient ask, ma'am, how many degrees do you have? No one. A player don't is not bothered how much anatomy and physiology you know. It's only bothered that how you treat them. If you're not confident, if you're not confident and you're not able to handle, you will not be able to handle anything if you know the good techniques. So your personality demands a lot. In sports, you need to be dominating because you're the only one decision maker. Yes, Dr. Vikas, your correct, confidence matters. the confidence and personality matters in sports. Seeing you and someone have even message that the fitness, yes, everything matters a lot. When physio fitness matters a lot because we are the one who demonstrate the exercise. If for suppose I'm not able to do the exercise, how will I teach my player to do the exercise? We are just being in the clinical way. But I think every physio have to hit the gym, do a endurance where you will understand how the muscle is working. If we are not able to do, then we are not a good rehab specialist. I don't know if any of trainers are here, but I'm so sorry to tell. Trainers have become a physio. I have seen lots of trainers doing ACL rehab and all. You think a physio is fit to do or the trainer is fit to do? A physio job is to focus more on the exercise. Where are we lacking? Because we are not going to gym, we are not hitting. We only write a prescription or we give a home exercise. Okay, you have this thing. This is a home prescription. Please just do an exercise. So it's very important. When you, I played cricket, so I understand the cricket game. But when I was in football, when I was in volleyball, I need to understand the game. I need to understand every movement, and I need to also understand which movement is at the high risk where an injury can happen. So when you're joining any sports, make sure you play that sports, you understand how is your body react towards that sports. You have a complete knowledge about sports because it's very easy to handle such things. Okay, so let's change. Your eyes and ear, your eyes and ears of your team health. How many people agree with this? We, as I told you previous, we don't watch game. We watch the movement. Watch the warm up, not the game. Now we have trainers who takes a part of warm up and cooling down. But do you think as a physio we neglect it? No. We also watch their warm up. We watch the game. We don't wait till player call us. If the player is changing their running gait during a warm up, what has a physio? What do you think? You just call the player beside you. First, check their hamstring because as a physio, you know there is high chance of hamstring pull. So be very smart on field. Yeah, so you can change. Now everyone were telling about warm up, warm up, warm up. What happened when there is not a good warm up? What we see and what we miss out. Yeah, ankle twist. बहुत कुछ होता है ankle twist नहीं. If there's not a good warm up, there's so many things can happen. Always remember, small problems on the surface, big performance cost underneath. There's a stiff player, there's very slow, heavy early movements. What happened? ये motor unit बराबर से काम नहीं करता है. Poor reactive strength, reduced neuromuscular, delayed decision, low RFD output. So as a physio, we not only see the surface symptoms, we see underlying mechanism. Below surface is also our work. But do you think we go and tell a player ki, okay, your warm-up was not good. You have a neuromuscular, reduce in your neuromuscular. Do you talk like this? No. But we know when there's not a proper warm-up, surface symptoms is like what we see. Below surface is our decision making. So always make sure a good warm-up is very important. Explain your player. And also in the clinical base, please, whenever you start your rehab, first do a mobility. Make sure your client is doing a mobility, then go forward. Don't directly give off the weights to them because people don't have idea between the soreness and niggle. This is very important. You need to explain them what is soreness and what is niggle. Anything which is affecting at one area more than 2 to 3 days, within 3 days, it's a soreness when you're doing a heavy. But if it's crossing more than 3 days, it's a niggle. And niggle can go forward with an injury. So always make sure you're explaining them properly. Okay, sir, you can change. The over that could have ended a season. There's a situation you guys are the physio of Indian team. There is a situation, T20 match, final overs, your bowler pulled during a release of your ball. No obvious injury is seen. But as a physio, what you do? You have seen this reduce in speed. The ball which he was bowling 140 till now he's bowling about 100. You have seen the speed reduce. You have also seen, always understand when there's a smart player ना वो field पे drama नहीं करता है. They just hide the injury. There are so many players who hide the injury. But you need to be very smart. You have seen keep reduce run up, ball speed reduce हो गया. The player is still not calling you inside. The pressure is there and you went inside. The player is telling you, I'm completely fine. The captain comes and tell you, we need him. Your decision now. Would you have let him bowl? It's an India and Pakistan match. Siraj is bowling. It's a final over. Last more 4 balls are left over. Second ball mein he got a pull. What will be your decision? Touching to hamstring? Still no. Anyone else? No. And Pakistan needs only 16 runs from 4 balls. Will allow for Pakistan match. If I'm the physio, I will allow this player to play. Whatever techniques you want to go ahead, your taping, your medicine, it's just more 4 balls. You need to protect this player and let him bowl because sometimes you have to take this pressure. It's a final match. So what do? You just release that part. You just give him the support of taping. Now you can't do a decision making here for the 4 balls and telling ki I'm gonna take this player out. No. So you need to be smart enough for that 4 balls to protect your player. And always remember, the injury wasn't sudden. It was already in progress. So sometimes your decision making also change, but decision also in situation base. Sometimes as a physio, we need to take a risk. Okay? It's a bias risk. We know in 4 balls also he might pull his hamstring, but we need to do sometimes. Okay? So we can go next. Yes, Dr. Vikas, you can do taping, instant relief, whatever technique you want. But just I'm talking about the decision thing. The 5 system of game ready warm up. Now we have 5 windows. As I told you, mobility, it's increase your range at the keys, joint, and tissue. Stability window, control where your force goes. Your trunk, pelvic is very important. Your power window, switch on stiffness, RFD. Your decision window, warm up scanning and reaction. Your transfer window, connect the warm up to the session and the players. So always make sure you're having this 5 systems. Always remember, warm up don't active your muscle, they active the system. When you are having a 3 hours of match, your at least warm up should be more than 30 to 40 minutes, a proper warm up. So this is your window. So you can change the complete toolkit. Now you guys can understand, with the clinic we have psychological, we have planning, so we need to have a complete skill planning. Now we are doing a clinical screening. Now we are doing a field scenario where we are going forward with the technology long term planning. We are going with the evidence based practice. Then also we have the psychological skill. You need to communicate properly. You need to understand your behavior changes of your players. So as a sports physio, we should have all the skill. This is our complete tool. We are just not dealing with injury. We are dealing with the mind. We are dealing with the performance. We are dealing with also planning. So do you think a sports physio is doing a great job? Well, you can change. Be a fatigue understanding masters. So how many type of fatigue we have? It's only a physical fatigue we know. So fatigue is a system derived. It's not a fitness derived. So always understand. Players don't slow down because they are unfit. They slow down when one performance system fails and affect the others. So we have four performance centers, and we need to understand. Someone who is having fatigue, you just can't decide he or she is unfit. You need to understand the psychological fatigue. The engine can't match the demand. You need to understand mechanical fatigue. Poor mechanical is equal to high energy cost. You need to understand the mental fatigueness, some tactical errors, unnecessary physical loads. You need to understand cognitive fatigue, slow brain, late body, and higher load. So this has a physio. You just can't declare someone unfit if you're not understanding their fatigue level. Okay, so you can go ahead. In changing environment, we don't break, we adapt. Always remember, we are not breaking anything. We are adapting the situation. We don't pause, we grow. We don't follow, we lead. This is where performance begins. Now, as a sports physio, we travel with the team. There are different climate adaptation. There are different environment. There is lots of travel, tournament, logistic management. You need to travel every week. You need to travel, change your flights. As a human, we are also in fatigue zone, but we need to be prepared always because we don't have any rest day. Rest day is also preparation day for us. So always adapt the situation. Sometimes I had to treat players on flights. I have treated players on airports. There's no climate. You can't wait that you should have a proper couch. You should treat wherever you find a place. You can't demand anything. So always just adapt the things. Verify before you recommend. How many people recommend medicines here? As a physio, I need to carry medicine because is there any emergency, the player come near me. Uh, During the match or after the match. During match, yes, we have lots of facilities. We have doctors with us, but uh, in hotels or we don't have much facility. So I need to carry my medical kit also, my medicine kit. How many guys know about WADA, anti-doping? So always make sure when you're even a small supplements. I have seen lots of physios recommend supplements, but you need to verify it. You need to verify, especially the cup syrups. Any medicine you're doing, giving to a player, we have WADA and NADA medicine list. You need to verify from that. Because agar anti-doping hua, if your player comes positive in anti-doping, the first question will come near you. And so many times the player hide and take the medicines. See, it's not a player mistake also. You think someone who have given their life 5 to 6 years in the playing and they got some opportunity to play for a state for in India. And small niggle or injury, the players know that he or she is not fit. Definitely, that player will not come near physio because usko pata hai ki he might be out of the game. So player hide and take lots of things. But if it's happening in front of you, you need to stop it. You will be the first person to get question from WADA and NADA. So always verify. Protect performance by protecting the health. This is most important thing what we have to do. Okay. Next, the recovery trap and recovery route. what are the traps? So many people tell ki ice is not for recovery, stretching is not for recovery, sleep, passive rest, active restore. So there are lots of things, and there are lots of things myth about the recovery. If someone asks me, for me, the recovery is the sleep. Again, a player who gonna perform tomorrow for a important match will have lots of anxiety and sleep disturbance. If that player is able to sleep at least for 2 to 3 hours, a deep sleep, that is also considered as good recovery. So there are lots of myths. There are different tools now what we got for the recovery. I can't sit and debate what is correct and what is wrong, but I can just tell you few bodies required ice bath. We have to go forward. Few bodies required massage. We have to go forward because this is designed by the players. If there is external modality dependency, yes, few players want ice bath, few players want massage gun, compression boots. But as a physio, you need to recommend what is required. Active, no one does active recovery. I've never seen players after a match running on field. That is one of the best active restorants. Few goes for the swimming pools. Tension regulation training. Early pair the end range mobility. Always make sure after an game you're going with the good mobility session rather than stretching. So you have to know what best recovery go forward. So you can change. This is most important. Early week, midweek, late week. How do you plan post-game recovery? Game day, highest stress. Second day, we are going with light workout to recovery from the game. Midweek is the loading. It's like we start midweek is a time where we load. We go with the fitness performance and all. And late week is again reduce the volume, keep the intensity, but stay sharp. Tapering hota hai wahan pe. So always a game. This is how we divide our recovery and their training areas. So first 1 day complete rest, second day, third day we give load 2-3 days, and then we start deloading again, and we will go forward for the match. This is how we plan the recovery post match. Yeah, so you can change. The hidden half of RTP, return to sports. This is very important. What most program focus on what actually works. If you're as a physio, if you're just focusing on strength clearance, re-injury के chances बहुत हैं. You need to understand neural and mechanical pathway of your player. Isolated joint metrics again, but as a physio, you need to focus on movement specific sequence. Early exposure to the max speed, again, high chance of injuries. Control progression, you need to have a criteria for to go with the control progression. Conditioning testing also at early stage, it's not recommended. Sorry. Then reactive loading. It's very important that you need has a physio coordinative reflexes and reactive loading integrate करना बहुत जरूरी है RTP में. Any doubt, anyone? It's some another class. I will explain you what is complete RTP protocol and the clearance. But always make sure just don't go on the strength clearance, isolated joint. You just can't decide कि आपका प्लेयर प्लाइरोमेट्रिक्स कर रहा है, भाग रहा है या डेडलिफ्ट उठा रहा है तो रेडी है खेलने के लिए. नो, you need to understand integration of trunk pelvis movement कैसा है, specific perturbations कैसे, offset loading. It's written to sports, written to play. So you need to decide everything. So don't be rely on one thing because any injury have a higher chances of re-injury. Always remember this. So you can change. Ground ready checklist. Are you truly feel ready? Can you assess and decide within 60 seconds? Can you communicate clearly within in 30 seconds? Can you stay calm under pressure? Can you keep your players safety first over the game? If not, you're not yet ready. So always make sure, mark this checklist. Are you ready with all this? Yeah, sir, you can change. How to prepare for real world sports physios. First thing what you'll do, get your degrees. For after that, get exposure of on-field guys. It's very important. This is just beyond the classroom. Second, make sure you are having a good movement analysis, not just an injury. Practice decision making under the pressure. You should never take pressure, just make a decision. Build both clinical and performance skill. Experience build, but instant repetition builds your confidence. Your confidence comes when you're exposed to it. You guys all agree with me? This is five most important things. You just can't sit and read a textbook, buttify all ACL protocols, and tell that you're ready to treat a player. No, you need to get exposed. Yeah, sir, you can go forward. The best physiotherapists aren't just masters of the body, they are the masters of the moment. Always remember. The pitch is their clinic and the scoreboard is their feedback. So, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. My dream is just not to create injury, but to stand on field where decision matters for protecting our players. We are the one who preserve their career. Always remember, our decision will make a career or break a career. Okay, guys, thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, doctor. That was a very insightful session. Though even though I was not a physiotherapist, but I had definitely a lot of takeaways, and I could finally understand, what the physiotherapist must be doing and feeling during the all the in between session during the matches. We have always seen in the field. I mean, either on the ground or behind the TV screen. But thank you for sharing your insightful, about the profession and how exactly at that point in time a physio should perform. I mean, really, thank you
Yeah.
for that.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks for that opportunity. And thanks to all my fellow physios joining here. And I wish someday we all meet each other. And I always request everyone, this is a field where it's growing so much. So don't degrade the field and don't degrade your colleague. Push each other forward because everyone needs us. Every house have a pain, every player is have a pain, everyone have a pain. So physio is on demand. So make sure you are studying properly and go forward. If anything is there, I'm available. You have my Instagram ID. Come DM me. You guys can take a personal number also, get in touch, but always help each other. It's very important because this will grow our field forward. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, doctor. Do you have time to take up some question?
Yeah,
Otherwise,
yeah, sure, sir.
okay. So there are a lot of questions in the chat, but I think somebody has asked, which assessment tools do you rely on most for return to play decision?
The return to play decision, you can go with active force, you can go with devolved, you can go with the force plates. It's just give you the criteria how good your muscle have work or how good your rehab have work. So there are few more tools and few AI generated tools also.
Okay, I think the next one is, ma'am, in football, if a player is hit directly by the ball in the public region and has severe pain, what is your immediate on-field assessment and management? Where can the player safely return to play?
See, if there is a direct hit on your sensitive area, make sure you're getting a player outside and do an assessment. See whether it's swell or any bruises, anything. If you see immediately those signs or the numb at that area, make sure you take a doctor's help, immediately take him to the hospital. So you don't have to play around when there is a hit on the sensitive area. Make sure you take a proper decision, take a medical help.
What are the cognitive training before play?
Cognitive training. So you have this reflex Y bank. You get lots of uh, different balls also. You get brace pod. Brace pod is one of the tools where I use it. So direction changes. You can do a reflex ball. Just give the balls continuously, hit the balls. Then you have color pads. You can just ask your player to close the eyes, and you can tell your player go and touch a green color or touch for a blue. So this will increase the reflection.
Okay. I think I'll just change the view to gallery so that more people can. Guys, if anyone else, Anil Kumar, I'll just unmute yourself. You have been raising hand, so you can ask your question. You can unmute yourself. Yeah. Are you? If you are saying something we are not able to hear, Nerela Anil Kumar.
And there's Ayushi Jain also. We have some question.
Okay. Ayushi, you can unmute yourself and ask the question. Not able to.
I think she's not able to do it. You can take my mail ID. You can connect me to the Instagram. You can reach me out, guys. I'll be available to answer. And if few student need a research idea, definitely I'm gonna work. It's Dr. Snehika Tiwari, sports physio. Yeah, I think someone is. Yeah, Ayushi Jain.
Yes,
Please.
Ayushi.
Ma'am, what should be the like? I'm a PPT third year student right now, and what should be the like? I'm only five, and personality also matters in sport. So, what should be the upcoming physio should choose the field like? Because neuro and ortho is all full. Like, it's just running.
So Ayushi, see, you have lots of things like you have women's health, one of the good leading. You also have again sports. You have neuro. You have ortho. You have pediatric physio, and also there's a new upcoming for public health physio is also going to start. But if you don't want to go forward with the sports, I think women's health is one of these booming. So you can check with the women's health also.
I hope that answered her question.
Ma'am, there's any college available for women's health? I think Manipal is one of the. I think they have few seats for women's. You also have a geriatric physio. So if you want to go into elder care, please go forward because again, it's one of the good. What is a research idea for sports? There are lots more ideas. You want where you want to work. I need to understand. There are lots more research in happening in the sports. Either you want to go with the tool wise or some technique wise, even injury wise. You have multiple injuries: shoulder, ankle, knee, head. So, what exactly you want? Please reach me out so that I can tell you. Now, I'm yoga teachers, good for women's health. Again, guys, you don't have to compare yourself with yoga teacher, trainers, or anything. You make sure you have a knowledge of everything. There is a lots of postnatal, prenatal courses coming up. If you are interested, please go ahead, learn those courses. Don't compare yourself with any of them. What is the scope in future and opportunity? One thing I strongly believe, if you believe in yourself, your opportunity comes. I understand so many people have sports degree, but only few people can serve at the highest level. IPL होने दो, ISL होने दो, या PCCI या Olympics. I understand that, and I understand that pain also. But when you're passionate enough, you will get an opportunity. So don't worry about it. If you're passionate, just go forward. Additional courses, you can do manual therapy. The taping is very important. Dry needling is important in sports. Manual therapy is important. So you can do additional course. You can do IOC, which is International Olympic Community Cup course. That is for 2 years. But FIFA diploma is a free course, so you can do that. That's good course. Then you have World Rugby, very good course, but quite tough to pass. But yes, it's very good.
Dr. Yatindra has raised his hand.
Yeah.
You can unmute yourself now, doctor, and ask the question.
Hello, ma'am. How
Yeah.
you
Hi.
do
Hi.
second? How you do a 60-second assessment on field?
It depends upon the injury. The first, what do you, if you have seen sudden swelling, what the first thing comes into your mind? Do you think it's a normal or abnormal?
Abnormal, ma'am.
Abnormal. So if someone who's not having a swelling but limping, again, what do you say? Abnormal?
Abnormal. Yeah.
Yeah. The screening, whatever we do screening is like what we observe. A player will never say
Okay.
कि मैं fit नहीं हूँ. It's a 60-second screening is just to understand ki whether this is a major or not. If you're able to palpate, there's no pain. There's no restriction at the joint. The player is okay. It's just a small impact pain, able to move, then the player is good enough to go forward. But if there is a swelling, there is a restriction, you are able to see the color change, you are able to see a bruise, then what is it? Just a very quick assessment.
Yeah, it's a red flag for that time.
Yeah. How many people are interested in sports? How many people are interested? Almost everyone. Very nice. Yeah, I'm very happy. I love someone. I love women's choosing sports. I was a part of Ranji Trophy men's. I was the first woman to travel with Ranji Trophy men's. So I am coming up with lots of workshop. I want you guys to DM me on Instagram or take my number so you can join our workshop. It will be very helpful to you guys.
We
Does
will.
yeah, there's one more question here. Does MPT ortho can work in sports? Definitely, guys, you need to have a knowledge of sports. There are lots of courses happening. There's lots of workshop happening. Get hands on. It's nothing if you're doing cardio, like you can't do sports. Neuro, you can't do sports. ऐसे कुछ नहीं है. If you're passionate and interested, make sure you are doing the workshop, getting a mentor, and you can go forward. It's in our physio. There's no restriction of anything.
By the way, just to add to what you told, ma'am,
Yeah.
we are now roughly 3,500 odd community, and I think most of the physios who are part of the community, either they are inclined towards sports physio. I mean, all the students want to become a sports physiotherapist, or most of them are sports physiotherapist. So that's great to actually see. I mean, I could, as an outsider, I see a lot of people interested in this particular domain.
I love the energy of this. I can be thoda biased, but I'm a sports physio. It's not by the pressure, it's by the choice. I was a player and I had ACL bilateral tear. I played state for 5 years. So it was my choice and I'm very proud of this professional. And I make sure the most of the women's coming forward for this. And even for men's also, it's not a gender bias, but you gonna rock in this field. Just go forward.
Great.
It's a It's any
So,
more questions to be taken, sir?
I think if there are any questions, we will pass it on to Dr. Sneha, and we will try to get all your question answered. In the meantime, people who are asking for her Instagram ID and all, we will be sharing it in the community. It was already shared as a part of our introduction. We will reshare it so that and then we will also take all the workshop details from ma'am, and we will share that in our community also, so that anyone who wants to sign up for those workshops can directly get in touch with ma'am and team.
Thank you so much, Mr. Siddharth, and thanks for the betterhood. And thanks to my all fellow physios. The energy was good. So I'm hoping to see lots of sports physio dominating the sports world. Thank you so much, guys. Signing off.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone who have joined. We will be sharing a recording of the session in our community along with the presentation that ma'am gave. So please join the community. You must have received, if you are not part of it already, the video would be edited, the recording would be edited in a day or two time, and it would be shared with you. It will also be there on our YouTube channel, so you can go and check out even the previous webinars which are there. If you have any questions for me, feel free to ask. I'll take another 5 minutes before I stop the session. Yes, all the people who have attended, they will get a digital certificate from us. We will also be running a poll for all the registered participants to take feedback, to also plan the future session or the topic that you would be interested in. All those things will be shared over WhatsApp communication as well as in the community. Um, the invitation, send the invitation link in the group. Uh, Let me quickly share the WhatsApp group if you are not a part of it. Yes, all the registered participants will get the digital certificate. You do not have to worry about the certificate part. I hope all of you had something to take away from today's session. I think while certificate does matter, I can understand. I hope the session was more insightful for all of you. Yes, Dr. Suchita, we will be sharing the Instagram handle in the community. Along with ma'am, other details, her clinic and every details would be shared over there. Okay. That's all. Thank you everyone for joining today's session. I'll end the session now. Looking forward to see you all in the Betterhood Physio Circle community.